Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of Director's Cut. I'm Jackson Kinney alongside Drew Fry, my co-director at IUSTV Sports. It's another week with no agreement in baseball and no agreement on the horizon for an MLB return to play. Meanwhile, today, NASCAR has announced plans to have some fans back at future events. The NBA's got their stuff rolling and still figuring out. The NHL is getting closer and closer here in the next couple of months, and well, baseball's just getting left behind. But one of those sports that is coming back soon this weekend that is also leaving baseball behind that we're going to talk about today is golf, specifically the PGA Tour. So you can lock in for that. It's going to be fun, huh?
Yeah, so in case we haven't talked about it enough, baseball, MLB specifically, has just proved their incompetency throughout this entire summer. It's quite pathetic and really disappointing as a baseball fan myself. But don't worry, because I have moved golf clubs behind me to go with my Dodger stuff, which will probably not see the light of day until 2021. But in the meantime, yeah, golf is the newest sport that's able to sort of get things reset, ready to go, and try and get things back to, a semblance of what they were before the spring and when everything went down with the virus.
And keeping it Indiana athletics adjacent and getting into that world.
Of course.
For the past couple of years, ever since the end of our freshman year in 2017, 2018, Indiana tore down the old golf course to make room for a new hospital that's still being built. But they also made plans to build a brand new golf course, kind of on the same property in the same spot, called the Fow Course, with a huge gift of money from the Fow family, where the name comes from. And it's opening up soon. It's opening up within the week, right?
Yeah, it's going to be mid-June, which, we're sitting here around, early to mid-June right now. They're going to start scheduling tee times for people. Obviously, it's meant for IU athletics and for that to be their home course.
Right.
But it's a nice, wide-open golf course. The public can go access it. You can schedule tee times. I already saw they're working on taking some precautions to ensure that everyone's able to open this course safely. But overall, yeah, I think it's a big win for IU athletics. They've struggled a lot recently, as every college has, trying to handle this, and then, with construction issues that IU's had in the past and just all sorts of stuff. It's nice that IU can finally, say, hey, we've locked this down. We've got it. Brand new golf course for our students and for the residents of Bloomington.
Right. Opening day, June 15th. Originally, it was supposed to be sometime in May. Obviously, that got pushed back.
But that's not a bad, pushback considering the circumstance.
It's not bad at all. And I was
an extra 6 months, and that was without a global pandemic.
Last year, I was the beat reporter for golf, so I know how much this is going to mean to the program, and they've been clamoring to have a course of their own. For the past couple of seasons, they haven't really had any home events. I mean, they've played on courses in Bloomington, like maybe one of the local country clubs, but they haven't had their home course like every other program that is anything in NCAA golf has. And this is going to be one of the best courses in the country, collegiate wise, and just one of the top 100 in my opinion. It's going to end up being, but this is going to be a hell of a facility for IU men's and women's golf, especially with some of the bright young stars each of those squads has. Like for women's golf with Annie Eisenhut coming up, and men's golf. I mean, for men's golf they have a lot coming up, but the only name that can come off the top of my head is captain and senior captain Jack Sparrow.
I knew that was coming.
Don't believe he's going to be there in the next year, but
feels like he's been there
forever. That name.
Yeah, no, it seems like Captain Jack has been there forever, and I do kind of feel bad for him because that's sort of what he's known for. His name is Jack Sparrow, and he was a team captain on the golf team, so he's just sort of become known as Captain Jack Sparrow. But it's publicity. He's known for something, and then the golf team's able to get a good rep through that.
Right.
But going back to the course, I do think it'll be really nice to have a home course. Golf is one of those things where there's not going to be a bunch of fans that are going to give you a home court advantage like you might have in basketball.
Right.
or
It's
field advantage in football. But to know that course, to have played on it hundreds of times
right.
already,
And
and
that's exactly where the advantage comes from, isn't the people that watching you. It's you may know you can hit a drive here in this fairway that nobody else does on their first time playing it, but you've played it maybe 50 times since it opened. I mean,
yeah,
it's such an advantage to have a good home course, especially one that you are intimately familiar with.
yeah,
But
it's also
yeah,
such a
and
comfort level. You can relax a bit knowing that you've hit these balls in that same spot every time. You know you can do it, and
right,
being able to be comfortable and relaxed, avoid tightening up. It's definitely a good move for IU golf.
right, and it was designed and built by one of the best golf course architects in the country in the world, Steve Smyers, and also he was helped along by Indiana native Hoosier, Fuzzy Zeller, who is also a two-time major winner, who already has courses in the state and in the area. But two great designers coming together to build this course, and it's very exciting to see. IU Athletics and the golf teams put out a video of like a drone tour of the course. It's absolutely beautiful. I just know it'll kick my ass, and I'm gonna lose like a box of balls or whatever the first time I try to play it. But I'm excited nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's going to be that way with any new course. And also, you and I are not professionals by any means,
Right.
despite the array of what is this like? I got like 5 clubs behind me, if that means anything at all. Um,
I've
no,
got
it
my
doesn't. I mean, spoiler alert, but it means nothing.
I've got my clubs from my last year of high school when I got new ones for my last year on varsity. So yeah, varsity high school golfer. That's my claim to athletic fame.
There you
4
go.
years varsity, baby. That's all I got.
Yeah, no, you'll destroy me any day.
Yeah. But moving on from the foul course that we are all excited about, at least I know I am. Um, into the PGA, they are returning to competition this weekend with the Charles Schwab Challenge.
There you go.
Man, that was tough. It's going to be played at Colonial. Uh, very nice course, a very big tournament, and just the first time being back, the Charles Schwab Challenge is going to be really weird too because there are going to be no fans. It's going to be interesting, especially after watching the challenge where they had Tom Brady and Peyton Manning with Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods, and the other four-man event with like Ricky Fowler, Dustin Johnson, and Rory McIlroy, and a
Right.
rookie on the tour. It was pretty strange to see no fans, but also golf is a sport, like we said, where it's not really that much of an effect. Um,
Yeah, I'm really interested
yeah,
in seeing how that plays out too, just because theoretically, golf should be one of those sports where it does not matter if there's fans there. I mean, unless you're Happy Gilmore and you have that big group of people behind you cheering you on, once again, a fictional character. Um, Other than that, yeah, it's, in golf, you're supposed to stay very quiet while they're playing. It's more of an observational type thing. Fans don't get involved. It's not as interactive as something like a football or a soccer might be. But even then, like I mentioned before, golf largely is about comfort. And if you are used to have it that high of a level, used to having hundreds or thousands of people staring at you, it may seem less nerve-wracking in theory,
right.
but it's a completely different atmosphere for you. So how do you handle that?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like a lot of the golfers will just take it in stride with their mentality because like it's their job and they're the best in the world. Like for me, anytime stepping up to a first tee is nerve wracking. And you hear that a lot from the pros too, but they're the pros for a reason. They can handle it. Um, I mean, and going into the tournament, when this season left off, there were a lot of good storylines that will be continued into this tournament. Sung J M, he was the winner of the Honda Classic earlier in the year. He's one of the hottest golfers in the world right now, leading the FedEx Cup playoff standings over Justin Thomas. Um, he's looking to continue to stay hot and kind of show that he's on stage now and one of the big boys. Rory McIlroy is the number one ranked golfer in the world going into this. He's making his debut at this course, the Colonial Country Club. So they're there's the comfort factor you mixed in. Kind of new, but he's also the number one golfer in the world, so I'm not sure that'll affect him too much.
Exactly.
McIlroy is also third in the FedEx Cup standings. And Kevin Na is the defending champion, but only one man, Ben Hogan, one of the greatest in the world in all of golf history. Ben Hogan's the only one to ever win back-to-back titles in this event, so Kevin Na will look to pull that off as well going into this. So there's a lot of
that. Kavanaugh now has to compete with the young up-and-comer. He's got to compete with McIlroy. He's got, like,
right.
It's a completely new dynamic.
There's a lot of challenges and unique things that we'll see watching this, just coming back in general. And honestly, for this event, it's got the best field it's probably ever seen since the World Golf Rankings became a thing in the mid-'80s. It's got, number one, like I said, Rory McIlroy in the world, and 8 of the top 10 golfers in the world.
Right.
The only other 2 in the top 10 are Adam Scott and Tommy Fleetwood, and they're not playing just because they're outside of the country right now and have to come back and face quarantine. Normally the field has 120, but this year they've expanded it to 144. So they're making room for as much as they can.
Yeah.
So it's got one of the best fields this event has ever seen.
And that's really nice to see, sort of the enthusiasm. There's so many people who are ready to come back and get back in that competitive spirit. So it'll be a lot of fun, not only seeing that stacked field, but all these competitors who are eager to get right back literally into the swing of things.
Mm-hmm. And we'll talk more about this when we bring on our guest. Today's guest is going to be Justin Berger, who was on the golf beat with me last year, so who better to bring in than him? He actually today was working at a junior PGA event in Georgia, so I mean, this guy lives and breathes golf. So we'll have him on in a few minutes. Stay tuned; it's going to be a great time. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. We have our guest on, Justin Berger, who was my partner on the golf beat last year. Justin, now what are you doing?
Well, guys, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here. This summer, I'm working for Georgia State Junior Golf Association. So I'm basically helping run their junior tour with about 20 or so other interns. And if you're familiar with junior golf, it's essentially like professional golf. You need an outlet to play. Tournaments are basically run the same way. You got to deal with crazy parents, make sure the kids have enough water, take their scores down. So doing everything from A to Z down there. And I was supposed to be there today I'm from Atlanta, and I was supposed to be in Waycross, Georgia, which is almost Florida. That's how south it is, about a 4.5 hour drive from my house.
That's an extremely southern name.
Yeah, Waycross. It's an extremely southern town. I had never been there before, and it was crazy down there. But I went to bed early because I had to be up early, and I woke up at 5:30 this morning to a text from my supervisor that said, due to inclement weather, we are canceling the tournament. So I had to get on back to Atlanta, 4.5 hour drive this morning on not a lot of sleep, but a lot of cups of coffee.
I mean, at least they didn't make you stand out there working in the rain.
Yeah,
that's all I got
about that.
There have been tournaments I've been a part of where it started to rain cats and dogs, and they were like, nah, you're fine. There's no lightning in the area. You're fine.
Right.
Just like, okay, well, whatever. But anyway, get into your take on the foul course. We talked about it a little bit earlier here at IU, how it's really great for the program and just the town in general to have a public golf course everybody can go play on, but also for the program to have one to host big tournaments and have a D1 facility that is really top of the line.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we've been waiting on this course forever. I remember when I, signed up to go to school there a million years ago. I remember one of the things was we're remodeling our golf course, and I was jacked about that because I'm a huge golfer. The course is, I saw some flyover shots. They haven't put out like hole by hole photos yet, but the course is gorgeous. It is beautiful. And it's at its tips from the tournament tees. I think it's like 7,600 yards, which is a legit golf course. You can't find anything like that even remotely close to Bloomington. And before we were stuck with, now I'm speaking as a casual golfer, we were stuck with Cascades, which, not to, crap on them, but it's not a really excellent facility. What we as students and the student athletes are going to have a legitimate professional course to play on, whether it's to practice for tournaments or to play casually. Right. So I'm really excited for me, my friends, and I'm excited because I think this brings a lot of attention to the university as well.
Right, and you mentioned playing on as casual. This has been in my head as an idea for a while, but and breaking news, this may happen. But I've been thinking we get a couple of people in IUSTV, take them out for a round, and that's how we do a course video talking about the new one. And Justin, you're one of the first people that came to my mind when making that video.
Well, I think that would be an excellent idea to show the everyday student what's going on in that course. The problem is I've been playing like 3 or 4 times a week, and I am exceptionally average. I can go out there and shoot in the.
You're probably better than me because I am also at that level.
Well, I can go out there and shoot in the mid 80s, but if it's a bad day, I can sniff 100. It just depends on the day. But I think that is an excellent idea. You just got to worry about, the only thing on the golf course I ever worry about, especially on video, is just someone dropping an expletive that you don't want to hear. Because I can guarantee you, if I hook a drive, I'm going to scream a word that does not need to be on TV.
That's post production. That's what I do.
We'll get the editor on that. Don't even worry.
Yeah,
perfect.
I was that like I've got a set of clubs behind me, but I think I've probably done 18 holes like once in my life. Maybe if you're going to combine like twice, if we're pooling. So yeah, I think my job would either to be the laughing stock or the editor. Considering out of these 5 clubs, I've got like 2 drivers in there. Like
nice.
This is not a full set by any means. But yes, I've like filmed on golf stuff before, and it's fun. It like you can get some interesting shots, but yeah, you gotta be paying attention to 1, your surroundings, 2, protect the camera, and 3, watch for what your the other people out on the course are doing, and as you mentioned, saying.
Right.
Yeah, we'll need a lot of mics and a lot of extra batteries out there, but I think it could be a lot of fun. But moving on from the foul course, which I'm sure we'll have much more coverage of as the year goes on, moving into the PGA, coming back for the Charles Schwab Challenge at Colonial Country Club. And I know you're pretty excited about this, Justin. What's your take on it?
Yeah, so I mean, we got our first taste a couple weeks ago. I'm sure you guys, like me, because you're just sports fans, you sat down and watched. I spent 6 hours on Sunday watching the match a couple weeks ago. My takeaways from that, just because I didn't get to talk to you guys about it, I'm sure you guys did talk about it though. Tiger looked better than he has even when he won the Masters last year. His long iron play was off the chain, and he was hitting darts the entire day. Phil looked great. His trash talking game is top notch still. And that lesson, I don't know if you guys caught it, but when he was telling, I think it was Brady, or no, he was telling Justin Thomas, because Justin Thomas was the on-course reporter. Right. He was telling Justin Thomas about the different grains in the green and what, like, I'm aiming for the darker one because it's going to slow it down, and then he put it within like 6 inches. It was crazy. So the match, in my opinion, was a complete success. Way better than the first one. Obviously, it's going to be better when you got 2 other superstars playing in it. And even with the rain, it didn't deter it. Moving on to Colonial, there is every name you know except for Tiger is teeing it up this week. And Tiger, right. I mean, he's going to be 44 in December. His back, he can't play every week anymore. And to be quite honest with you, Charles Schwab is not an important enough of a tournament for him to play in. So Can I run through a few of the tee times that I'm looking forward to?
If you've got the groups, for sure, because we talked about it, it's got 8 of the 10 top 10 in the world.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty stacked field. Take us through the groups and tee times if you got some pulled up.
So yeah, I got it all written down. Well, one thing I will say first is I think I'm so bad at time zones, but I think Fort Worth is Central Time.
I do believe you're correct there.
So I've got them all written down as Eastern Time, but I know at 8:46 Central Time they are not having any tee times, and they're going to do I think a moment of silence is what it was written as for George Floyd, which is something that's very cool. I think Harold Varner has been leading the way for the PGA Tour, trying to figure out what they can do for the Black Lives Matter movement, which I think is excellent. And as long as they're faster than the MLB already, so that's a good thing.
To be fair, faster than the MLB isn't a high bar anymore.
Right. They are exceptionally slow. That could be a whole nother show. Eastern Time though, so they're doing like a weird first hole, 10th hole. Groups are teeing off at the same time,
right?
Kind of like a weird shotgun. But I got 6 groups that I'm looking at. We'll start with the first tee. 1:55 Eastern. We got Spieth, Ricky, and Justin Thomas with the Spring Break boys. That was the only one that's left out is Smiley Kaufman, but he's so bad it doesn't even matter. That's a great group, young guys. Spieth has got to figure out his mental game. Everything he was doing when he won those 3 majors, when he had that hot run, was due to his putting, and he was sinking like 20-footers consistently. Right. He's got nothing over the past like 18 months. He's had nothing like that. And so I think it's mental for him because he's obviously an excellent ball striker and can drive the ball a mile.
Right. It's just when he gets on the greens, it's like he forgot how to putt.
Exactly. And it's such a, like, people are like, oh, I could putt it. Like, 2 putting on every hole, which should be everyone's goal, is hard as hell. And you think, sometimes you just, especially on these greens, you can roll it past without even thinking about it. So for me, he's got to figure out his putting. His game is still there, and he's just got to get himself in check, because you can see very much like the next guy I'm going to point out to, he loses it sometimes and has a hard time getting it back. And that brings me to the 2:06 tee time with Rory, Brooks Koepka, and Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm is a lunatic. And if he puts one OB or misses a shot, his round is over. That being said, he could go out there and shoot 62 4 times in a row. He's just has such a problem. And Nick Faldo, the CBS analyst, talks about this all the time. There's like, when you see Jon Rahm begin to crack, that's when it's over. He's got no chance because he can't figure out how to get his brain back in the round. But the rest of that group, Rory and Brooks, they're 1 and 2 right now. 2 of the best golfers in the country, the world. Rory is a guy I've loved forever. I apologize, my dog's barking. But Rory's a guy that I've loved forever. He's, I think, still only 31. And Brooks is obviously in the middle of his prime. Right. So they had a little feud a couple months ago where somebody brought it up that they were like rivals, and Brooks was like, well, Rory hasn't won since I've been on tour, but Rory won 4 majors when Brooks was still playing in Europe. So it's like unfair to compare the two because they're technically like different era winners, but they're both still excellent golfers. And then at 2:17 from the first hole, so that's 3 tee times in a row, Webb Simpson, Matt Kuchar, Tony Finau, 3 of the nicest guys on the tour. And Matt Kuchar's a Georgia boy, so I love him. So is Webb Simpson, actually. So I'm excited about that, those 3 tee times on the first hole.
Oh, yeah, those are going to be a lot of fun to watch. And my memory's shoddy, but wasn't it Brooks and Rory in the Ryder's Cup or the President's Cup where they were playing match play together, and it was the whole put the finger up to the mouth, shushing the crowd, and the whole it got really heated.
I thought it might have been, I know it was Rory. I know Rory went like this. I thought maybe he was playing against Patrick Reed.
Yeah, it was Patrick Reed. It was definitely Patrick Reed.
Patrick Reed is such a just the worst. So this was it was in Paris this year or last year, I guess. Or no, President's Cup. That was in Australia. So it was the home field for the non-Americans. So
I knew it
made
was
sense.
one of the two of Koepka or Reed because those are probably two, in my opinion, of some of the most unlikable guys.
I'll argue that with you. I agree completely on Patrick Reed. I think Patrick Reed is like number one, at least for me.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a couple like unconventional. Like I don't like Justin Rose at all. I think he's like smug.
See, that's fair. I understand that, but like for me with Brooks Koepka, I go back and forth on him because sometimes he seems okay, but other times he just puts off that air of my stuff doesn't stink, and it's just like, okay,
yes,
Brooks,
he does do that. My thing with him, he's the guy that famously said like, I don't even like golfing. Like I want once I tee off, I want to get out of there. But he's backed up his trash talk. He's not going out there and firing 75s. The majors he won were some of the four best tournaments I've ever seen. He was so tuned in, and for a guy that doesn't even like golf, he looked amazing. So I really like him, but I can see where you get the vibe from.
Yeah. So I'll ask something because I know you two are clearly like the two golf guys, and I'm sort of like follow it casually, but I know there's been talking about in this tournament this weekend that they're going to have some of these players mic'd up. Which players do you most want to see with that microphone attached to them?
For me, I mean, I want Rory to be mic'd up. That's kind of an obvious choice. I want Justin Thomas to be mic'd up.
Yeah.
Justin Thomas is one of my favorite golfers just because he's got that Louisville connection.
Yeah.
Good old Kentucky boy. And he's just hilarious. And if I had to pick kind of a wild card, probably Jon Rahm. Just because he does have that temper, but like that's just him. That's his fiery Spaniard attitude.
Yeah.
He's also just hilarious though when he's in a good mood, and it's kind of entertaining to see a golfer at that level go through a temper tantrum every now and then, because sometimes that's how I feel when I'm on the course, and it's nice to know they're just like me sometimes.
I'm not going to steal your guys. I think those are all great choices. Rory is obviously, I would love to just listen to him talk. What we saw a couple weeks ago with Phil, why not put another microphone on him? He obviously loved it.
Yeah.
And he was great at it. So I'll say Phil. Another guy another guy that I'm looking at later, who I have in the last couple of years just really fallen in love with as a golfer. He's not a flashy guy, but he wins, and he's really good at match play too, is Kevin Kisner. Kisner is notoriously one of the best trash talkers on the tour. So I think that would be something that's really interesting to watch. And then I'll go like Ricky, because he's just a great guy.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to hear what he's thinking, in between. It'll be different because there's no fans I think it's 4 weeks. We have no fans.
I think it's for the first 5 tournaments, no fans.
Okay. So and then we hit Memorial, and Memorial in Ohio said they're going to allow 8,000, I think. So I'm interested to see what it's like with no fans, but that's like mic'd up is an interesting thing for golf. It's not like baseball where you're constantly communicating and the information, like your information is valuable. You're not gonna be able to steal a read from a caddy because they're already saying it out loud. So what's the difference there?
Yeah.
It's just gonna be about player comfortability because you got to get the mic and everything.
But I think it'll be any players that'll be more affected by not having the fans.
Yeah.
Do you say certain players that will be affected by not having?
Are there any players in particular that you can think of that might be affected more so than others?
Tiger. I mean, if Tiger doesn't have the roars, and obviously I think there's been speculation that he's going to play next week because his yacht is off the coast of Georgia right now, which is very close to the RBC Heritage. Yeah, which is in Hilton Head. He's right. Apparently his yacht's in St. Simons, which is, just a hop, skip, and a jump from Hilton Head. So Tiger obviously would be affected by no fans because everyone goes to see Tiger, and Tiger is obviously famous for the roars. Right now, I guess you got to pick the guys who feed off the energy. So Koepka, Rory, even a guy like Bryson DeChambeau, who's like just so hit or miss, he with fans too.
And Bryson DeChambeau is his own special thing.
Right.
He's easily the smartest golfer out there, just book smarts. Literally, he was an engineer major somewhere.
SMU.
Yeah, and he'll be on the green reading it, not like a normal golfer, but with degrees and angles. And
I've listened to interviews and podcasts with him. He is a freak.
Yeah.
He knows everything, just like everything about the golf course from a scientific basis, and the game of golf. It's really interesting to watch, and it's just whether or not you think he come off cocky or not.
Right, and it's not for me because, well, one, I'm just not into math and numbers and stuff much when it comes to this, but I mean, it works for him, and he's doing it well. The one thing that I was thinking of while we were talking about this no crowd thing, and you brought it up with the roar, but that's a big part of any golf tournament is, I mean, for example, I was at the 2014 PGA at Valhalla in Louisville, where Rory McIlroy won. And you'll be following a group, say you're on hole 7, and then depending on what happens, say at hole 11 or hole 5, if something big happens, you can hear the crowd watching that across the entire property. And for golfers in the tournament, that can also be a wake-up call to look at the leaderboard the next time they walk by and check on it. Without that, it might be kind of hard to know what's happening out on the course, because sometimes you can just tell big things are happening based on the crowd noise. It's not an end-all be-all, but it's certainly a factor.
Right. I mean, I completely agree, because I too, we have Atlanta host the FedEx Cup every year at Eastlake. And obviously you got to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody to go to the Masters. So I've never been there, and we also, Atlanta Athletic Club recently hosted the PGA. It was when Keegan Bradley won. I think it was in like 2011. It was a long time ago, but I went for that too. And you're right. You turn around that way, turn around that way based off of where the roars are coming from. And it also, for the players, not even for the fans, really, you hear a roar right behind you on Sunday. Somebody did something, like if you're in the lead and you got a group behind you and you hear that roar on 14 and you're on 15, that's something that could get in your head. Now you just got to go based off of what the scoreboard, and they might not even have scoreboards
right,
with the fans not out there. So it's going to be like word of mouth out there, which will be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, you're right. There may be no need for a leaderboard, just trying to keep as many people off the course as possible.
Right.
You're 100% right about that. It's definitely an awareness thing, because like you said, maybe you're a shot up in the lead, group behind you hear your roar, and you're like, well, okay, now we're even. And you just have to go on with that in your head. It's going to be very interesting. And you mentioned you have to know somebody in the Masters. You have to either know somebody or get incredibly lucky. My dad has been entering the lottery for tickets for like 20 years. He hit a couple of years ago just for one practice round.
My dad has been to the Tuesday, because Wednesday's the par 3 contest. He was been to Tuesday 3 times. And that's because he's got a friend who knows somebody who's a member. So it's like 4 degrees of separation only got him into a practice round.
Listen, I'm not saying this whole sports media major thing was to get a press pass to go to the Masters, but hey, you never know.
Well, I think we all had Zach Kiefer together, and the way we talked about being inside the ropes, it's like a religious experience. So that's obviously something we'll all strive for with the press pass.
Right, and now moving into what is becoming one of my favorite things that we've done.
Oh, yes.
Is the movie portion. So far, we've gone over 2 sports. Baseball, we had Moneyball, Major League, and Field of Dreams. For hockey, it was Sidney Crosby off the ice and beyond. Or on the ice and beyond. I don't really remember.
Something
that was
that
specific. Miracle, and Goon. So now it's time to set the lineup for golf. And Justin, I'll start with you and your top 3 golf movies because I know you got some strong feelings here.
Yeah, I do. Also, I'm a little disappointed no one had Bull Durham in baseball because that's such a good
I
one.
campaigned for it. Don't worry.
Okay, and Field of Dreams too.
Field of Dreams is a strong honorable mention.
Okay, all right, good. Golf movies. So, I mean, there's not a lot. When I looked up, I had 5. I had 5 golf movies, and I narrowed it down to 3. Number 1 for me, and it's not even close. Not even close, is Caddyshack.
Okay. Yeah.
Bill Murray and Chevy Chase, who, by the way, did not have a single scene together except for, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, where they're in Bill Murray's shed and they're smoking the grass that grows on the golf course that Bill Murray made. Caddyshack, forget that it's a golf movie. Forget about it. It is one of the funniest movies of all time. If you haven't watched it as a sports fan or as a movie lover, shame on you.
It's one of the funniest movies of all time that just like has the costume of being a golf movie.
Yes. As a lover of golf, watching those, hooligans go out there and play is hilarious to watch. And the one-liners from that movie are just some of the best. So Caddyshack's a clear number 1 for me. And Caddyshack 2 was the worst movie of all time. So if you haven't seen it, don't watch. It's like Godfather 3. There's just no reason for you to watch it.
Exactly.
2 for me, and this was tough. Go Tin Cup with Kevin Costner. More kind of like a romance movie again with the backdrop of golf. But Kevin Costner's awesome in that movie, and I really like Kevin Costner. And it's about golf, so c'est la vie. 3rd, this was the hardest one for me. Those 2 were kind of submitted, 1 and 2. I went comedy again, Happy Gilmore. Not even for Adam Sandler, because I don't think that's his best role by even – it's not even close. Shooter McGavin is one of the best movie villains of all time.
Oh, yeah. That is 100% agreeable. There are still Twitter accounts that parody Shooter McGavin because he's just – I hate to use the word, but he's iconic.
Yeah, he is. He's an all-time movie villain. There's 2 I left off, but I'm sure you guys have those 2.
All right, Drew, let's go to you because I know you had to do some research for this.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I don't have the 2 that you're thinking of. I'll preface this with, as I'm going through and like researching some of these golf movies, I've realized how painfully few golf movies I have actually seen. Mm-hmm. So this list's a little rough. Number 1, I have to go with the one that I have for sure seen, and I loved. I thought it was hilarious. It's Happy Gilmore. I love that. I like Adam Sandler. Shooter McGavin, as you mentioned, is just an incredible movie villain.
Bob Barker getting punched.
Yes.
That is possibly the thing that sealed this for me. The Price is Wrong. That is such a beautiful line. Just the fist fight with Bob Barker. Yeah, I love that movie, so I put Happy Gilmore up at number 1. Number 2, I went with Caddyshack, but I will explain. I haven't actually seen it all the way through in full. But I mainly had to keep it 2 because of that gopher. Yeah, I just feel like even if you haven't seen Caddyshack, you've never heard of Caddyshack, you know of the gopher that Bill Murray basically chases around for the entire movie.
I remember they used to sell gophers, like license from the movie.
Right, it's like the opening scene. It's just a little gopher doing it. So for that reason alone, I went with Caddyshack at number 2. And for 3, realistically, I probably could have put something like Tin Cup, but again, I know I have to see it, and it's on a list of movies that I will see eventually, but I hadn't seen it all the way through, and so I decided I wanted to get creative. And I was saying to Jackson earlier, he's either going to be proud of me or extremely disappointed for this pick. But this one is on Disney Plus, if anyone is interested.
I know what you're going to say.
It's 7 minutes long.
7? Wait, I don't know.
It is a 7-minute long movie. It's a Donald's golf game. And it's one of those Donald Duck cartoons where he takes his nephews out golfing, and then his nephews decide to mess with him. And for 7 minutes, it's Donald Duck just trying to play one hole of golf.
That is so not what I thought you were going to say.
No? Okay. I just
I
I felt
respect
like
it,
I
though. I
needed to go
respect
back.
it.
I needed to go back to the roots of like when I was 5, watching Donald Duck just struggle at everything. And so
I know what I'm
Donald
gonna
told
do
me,
tonight on Disney Plus.
It's
there
only
you go.
it's a
There's a
7-minute commitment. Why
Yeah.
not?
not I watched it today. It
Yeah.
took me less than 10 minutes, easy. And there's a bunch of
Nice.
them. Donald's gonna play baseball, and Donald's probably playing football. Donald, he might go water skiing. Who knows? But
Donald Duck is our honorable mention for all of these movie categories from now.
Jackson, I assume you're gonna go with the other Disney golf movie.
And yeah, for my top 3, that would probably be The Greatest Game Ever Played.
Yeah.
Starring Shia LaBeouf, however you want to say it.
Shia LaBeouf, yeah.
Old-timey golf, U.S. Open, I believe. Really great movie. If you lived in a house like mine where it was either on MLB Network or the Golf Channel all the time, or whatever local channel had the Reds game, you were probably watching one of the golf movies on TV, and it happened a lot of times to be the greatest game ever played. That's a really good one. I gotta go with Caddyshack just because I watched it recently again the other night, and it's just so good. And then one that I'm surprised that hasn't been brought up yet because it's got a really good cast. Matt Damon, Will Smith, Charlize Theron, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Robert Redford directed it. It is The Legend of Bagger Vance, which I had first heard about it because my golf coach in high school, it's one of his favorite movies. And he would always play a certain scene at the beginning of the year at like our first team meeting. And so when I first saw the movie, I just kind of fell in love with it. It happens in your home state of Georgia, Savannah, Georgia. Basically, Matt Damon plays a World War I veteran who comes back and he's suffering from PTSD. But before he left for the war, he was the best golfer in the country. And then when he comes back, his town is struggling in the Great Depression. And so the rich family in town who owns the golf course, they're going to have a big old tournament with Bobby Jones and Walter Hagen. And they enter their local Savannah boy in against them. And Will Smith plays this character who's basically God this whole time. I've read the backstory of the movie, and it's basically a whole religious metaphor. It's a religion movie dressed up as a golf movie, but it's very, very good and very interesting.
You're absolutely right. You mentioned Greatest Game Ever Played and Bagger Vance. Those were the other 2 in pretty much there's 5 golf movies. But Bagger Vance is really good. I've seen all of them because I'm a golf guy, but you're right about I didn't think about it, but now that you say it like that, it is kind of
there's a whole breakdown of what religious figures each character is, and it's a lot to do with Hinduism. If you want to do the research, it's very interesting.
I will say, because you guys have honorable mention category, right?
Of course.
Yeah. I will say, not a golf movie, but a golf scene from a movie. Have you ever seen Starsky and Hutch with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson? It's a remake of a cop show from the 80s. There's a golf scene where Vince Vaughn is also in the movie, who's one of my favorite comedy actors. We could do a whole nother podcast on movies. I'd be so in for that. Vince Vaughn is a drug dealer who's out playing golf with his supplier or whatever. And Snoop Dogg is his caddy. And it is one of the funnier sequences I've ever seen on a golf course. Because Vince Vaughn just assumes he's this know-nothing guy. And Snoop Dogg comes up and he grabs the grass and says, "This is bent grass, not Bermuda. You got to hit a 5-iron off of here, not a 6, because the way it's hilarious. It's hilarious. So if you haven't seen that movie, watch the movie and look out for the golf scene.
If I'm trying to think of honorable mentions, I can't really think of any. I'm sure there have been golf mentions somewhere, mainly baseball movies too. Major League, for instance, when the rich player Roger Dorn has his golf clubs at spring training, and
hats for bats.
Serrano takes the head cover, those hats for bats. I mean, golf makes its way into a lot of movies, but like you said, there are only 5 or so where it is the focus of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've seen, if you're James Bond fan, Goldfinger, there's a good golf scene where Sean Connery, who's James Bond in that movie, they play golf. He plays golf with the villain for it's 20-minute scene.
Yeah.
In England, or no, it's actually it is in England, in the 60s. So it's kind of cool to see the golf course, from 50 years ago.
That's
So,
that movie is a claim to fame of my hometown, Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
yes.
It's really close. I live really close to Fort Knox, which was the whole point of that movie with gold and the gold vault and such.
Yeah.
But yeah. In high school, one of my friends who was also big into James Bond, Fort Knox has a golf course where one of the holes runs adjacent to the very outer fence of the gold vault, so you can see the gold vault from the fairway. We just kind of replayed the scene over one time, just real nerd stuff. Kind of a shame to admit it, but it happened.
Yeah.
But, so for our top three, I think we can put Caddyshack in there, guaranteed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
No problem. And then Happy Gilmore was in Justin.
Drew and I both had Happy Gilmore.
And then,
although I don't know how much you want to take my my recommendations, take them for a grain of salt, considering I did go with Donald's golf game.
So Caddyshack, Happy Gilmore, and then just to round it out, I feel like from my three we can add The Legend of Bagger Vance because that's my number one.
Perfect.
All right, cool. So
I like it.
Bagger Vance, Happy Gilmore, and then Caddyshack. So there's our top three. Justin, thanks for coming on, man. This was a lot of fun.
It was a pleasure, guys. Anytime I can come on with two pillars of IU sports media, I'm happy to do it.
I appreciate it. I hope everything works out for you. Maybe if you do more tournaments, those don't get canceled.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's so, in the South in the summer, you can have a pop-up storm whenever. So, I mean, Jackson, you know that. So hopefully just the lightning stays away. But I'll be back. I'm working in a couple of days, so we'll be fine. I'll be good.
Back
all right. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back Friday with a new episode. I believe it's going to be NBA and basketball themed, so be excited for that. And we will see you then. So thanks for watching.